Good evening, everybody. This is Robin with another edition of Horror Pop After Midnight. And my guest tonight is Mike Fox from Crystal Fox Films. He's the director, producer, editor, and designer. And of course, Diane Platon, creator and writer of this this indie horror film I checked out. It was like an extended, which is going to become a future film called Then Came a Rainbow. How's it going, guys?
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you for having us on.
All right, Diane, let's talk about Then Came a Rainbow. How'd you come up with that story?
Well, I have twin daughters, and that's kind of started out from, I've always been a huge fan of The Shining and, you know, the twins on The Shining. And so, you know, when I was younger, all the time. So I finally took the time. And when I started writing, it turned into a horror film, like a horror script, you know? So, I mean, that's how it started. And, you know, the girls play a good part of being creepy little twins. So it made it easy. It made it really easy. So
sort of a documentary at the household, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
Now, Diane, how'd you bring Mike into the picture of the film as, you know, director, producer, editor, and designer?
Well, Mike is amazing, and he was Sleepers, and my three kids, my older son Jax and the twins, were on his film, and just, you know, everything that he was doing, as far, you know, filming is one thing, also how he is with all of the, you know, the actors and everybody that's involved is so wonderful, and his family as well. And so, I mean, I had no question when it was time for me to do I want him involved, you know. So.
Okay, Mike. Now, the one thing I liked about, since I've seen it, I love those awesome shots you did, Mike, through the camera. I love the uniqueness, how you held the camera, you know, for certain angles. And I love the certain shots in the film. It felt like, as a film goer, it felt like I was watching through the lens of the camera, film being part of the movie on the certain shots, you know, with the twins and what was going on in this horror film.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always looking for a creative shot, you know, and I'm kind of like a Christopher Nolan type of J.J. Abrams, a younger Steven Spielberg type of mentality. I can't stand just the A camera, B camera, you know, back and forth shot. I'm always looking for some kind of abstract, and especially when it comes to horror. So when Diane, she gave me her script, and she gave me the key scenes that she wanted to do. So this one, it was a little tricky because it was more of a narrative and a storyline. Whereas instead of it being kind of like an action-packed horror, like, you know, like Abigail, you see just like, you know, you see the blood, you see the you know, just the action, bam, bam, bam. So this was more of a storyline. So I had to work it in a way that made the viewer feel uneasy, like something is not right here, you know. And so I wanted to make sure that I saw it through the eyes of not only the audience, but also indirectly through the eyes of the twins, because you saw certain things that the twins were directly correlated with. So, you know, with Billy, you know, the bully, and even the parents, and even Billy's parents, you know, you as the camera, as almost the POV shot looking up, you know, at the parents looking down at you. That's the hero or villain shot, you know. And then, of course, like, and I was very excited about when the magazine said, you know, about the different styles of shots, because I wanted to get not just static. I really hate static shots. I've got to be moving around. That's why we had a chase scene, and I implemented all kinds of techniques with that to make it like fast moving. And then the drone shot I had to make it twist, and it did exactly what I wanted it to do, and I was so glad. It just twirled slowly down to see Billy, you know, lying there, and he, you know, like this shape of him there, kind of like, you know, like not right, on the ground, and it's just like twisting as it gets bigger, and then you have that almost sad kind of music, and you're just like, what's going on? And so it was that uneasiness that I wanted to kind of portray. And then, of course, you get to see, like you brought up earlier, you see them looking up at the twins, and then you're looking up at the twins, and they're just kind of like, you're looking down, and you're like, this is not a time to laugh. This is like tragedy. And they're just giggling, and they're in slow motion, and you're just like, what the heck? This is evil. And so that's kind of all that stuff put together. And so I was proud of everybody, and I was I was excited. Even Diane was like, I had tears from my eyes watching this, and I'm like, I get it. It was just, it's chilling, So I was excited. I get excited. I love doing this. So.
Yeah, Diane, let's talk about your twin daughters that were in this film and what you mentioned. They did give me the Shining vibe a little bit. I had a little bit of goosebumps. At first, I thought these were like two little innocent girls. I'm like, oh, how adorable. There's these two little twin girls, in this horror film. Yeah, and and like I said, it's like they nailed it, man. They played that innocent with around certain people, and then when they had those diabolical, like sinister smiles, that got under my skin. Those little girls freaked me out with those cynical smiles, and I'm like, oh my gosh, man.
The first time you mentioned to me, the first time you see is when Billy's walking away back to the door, and I pulled away with the camera.
Yep.
And you see them just like that, and you're like, whoa, don't
that
mess
is
with it.
a great scene. That is a great scene. Absolutely. Like, the girls really look freaky, which is what we want them to look like. And Mike captured everything amazing. So I couldn't be happier with how it all turned out. So.
And another thing that freaked me out about your daughters, Diane, when they were doing those nursery rhymes like Itsy Bitsy Spider, that was very chilling. And then when he did the other nursery rhyme, I'm like, what?
Around the road.
That's the only way they sing those nursery rhymes now, by the way. They sing them normally. They have to sing them in a creepy way. So, yay for me, right? I have to hear that.
Throw a little echo, and then like through a tragedy, and you're like, what is this?
And like I said, like poor Billy, man, I didn't feel for him. I was like rooting for the twins, and the one thing he had this like G.I. Joe figure, like this Destro figure, and I collect these classified figures, and that was a classified figure. I was like, no, don't ruin that beautiful figure. I don't care about Billy, just don't.
One of the hard parts was when Billy had to throw the doll that he took from one of the girls.
Yeah.
So we had like 5 male adults going, come on, throw it to me. I'm like, okay, throw it to them. One of them will catch it, and then we had to make it, and I made it a slow motion.
Yeah.
To where it fell, and you're just like watching this doll just kind of go, so that was, I don't know, I like that kind of stuff, just to get your focus on something other than just a dialogue here, dialogue, So that was super fun. But Billy Sterling Chen, right?
Sterling, yep.
He is he's an awesome little guy. We love him. He was amazing. All of the kids, everybody, was a trooper and worked hard to the very end, to the sun going down, and we're like, okay, we gotta hurry because we're about done. So everybody did it. And
cold. It was really cold.
Yeah.
They did great. They did fantastic. It was just, everything came together just perfectly the way that I envisioned it to be. So,
Robin? Did you see where the girls were standing? Let me say it this way first. Where the girls were standing, you could see their shoes, and they're near the edge.
Yeah, I did. I saw that, and yeah, I did. And how you like positioned the camera.
So they weren't really there. Special effects.
Really, I thought that was them. I'm not going to spoil it because we got to let people see it. But that part, the edge, I thought that was really them on that edge. I knew they would. If that was them, I knew they would have somebody like for safety, just in case they don't fall. But yeah, I was.
For all the freaked out parents out there, they weren't really there. It was special effects. It was VFX afterwards through through Premiere or DaVinci. I forgot which I used it in, but it was special effects. So that they were, they did come, within proximity, obviously with safety, but they weren't standing on the edge just so parents could freak out.
Yeah, it looked real because when you were at that national park where you filmed it, right where they're at on that top high like ridge area, that rock, it felt like they were really standing at the edge. I didn't know that was special effects. I thought maybe that was them standing a little bit, but they had somebody behind them so they don't like.
It was a combination of, and that's what filmmakers do. It was a combination of where they stood, how I got the hero shot, and then where I put in their shoes on the rocks when you saw the camera go like this.
Yeah.
And you saw the shoes like kind of go like right here. You saw the shoes, over the edge. So it was a combination of, just like the magazine was saying, combination of style of shots to make it one seamless, narrative. That's filming, 101. So yeah.
So Diane, where you filmed the scene with the house and pool, was that like your house or was that like a friend's house?
Somebody else's house. Somebody that Mike knows, and so no, not my house. We live in New Jersey.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, it was actually in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. And the guy actually has worked with other people in the entertainment industry, and it's actually an Architectural Digest house. So even the inside of the house where they're mingling and where she comes up to the bars area, and then the outside where the pool is and the barbecue and where they're singing "Itsy Bitsy Spider" with all that. Yeah. It was like that house area. It's a beautiful, beautiful home, and so we greatly appreciate the couple that allowed us to film there, and they were excited because hey, it gets to be part of a a film, and they have experience in the industry, so we're very grateful for that.
Very grateful.
So how much fun did your daughters, the twins, did this horror film? How much fun were they really having?
They loved it. I mean, they could have gone on for weeks at a time. Like, they didn't want it to be over. They loved it, but a lot of it had to do with the fact that, they love Mike. They love his family, and then the whole cast became part of our family. So it just made it easy, and it made it fun, and we all enjoyed ourselves, and we worked hard, but, we look at what we made happen. So it was very exciting.
Yeah, and the fact that, and we're just ecstatic, like totally stoked that it came out in that news magazine, which we were just talking about. I can't find it anywhere. It's like we got the last, and this is, I was telling Robin, this is it right here. I wasn't even going to purchase it. We just went to Barnes & Noble like we do almost every week, just to go, and Ari writes her latest work in progress, and I'm just going through it, and I look and I saw the twins, right here, and I'm like, wait, it's the Platon twins. And I showed Ari, I said, oh, look, Diane's really hustling, she's really pushing this. And then Ari says, yeah, but isn't that your shot from the teaser? And I look and I said, it is. And then I look on top at this shot, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's my drone shot of Billy with the ketchup, with the blood on the ground. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I started to read it, and it's just like, hey, Mike Fox from Crystal Fox Films, then came a rainbow. I was like, what the heck? And I was just like, whoa. And I can't find this, it was sold out everywhere. I'm going to have to, reach out. I think they're in the UK. So I'm going to have to reach out and see if I can get a subscription and even just hopefully get one more, so.
That's a big deal in that Pro Movie Maker magazine for you, Mike, and it's also a big deal for Diane for them mentioning that movie. So, Diane, when you saw your movie mentioned in that magazine, and then Mike, for his camera work, what was going through both of you guys' heads?
For me, it was, I can't even explain it. It was, my heart was racing. I was excited for Mike, but then I was like in disbelief for myself. It's like, I don't even, I still can't even wrap my mind around it. It's so exciting to see that, I almost wouldn't even expect to have my stuff in something like that. Just definitely Mike. Like, it didn't shock me that there was something about Mike, but my story, my little stories in there too. And so that was just like mind blowing for me, honestly. Yeah.
I agree with what she said. I mean, I actually couldn't wrap my mind around it because, so Filmmaker Pro, I mean, this is like the most beautiful for filmmakers. It's like the most, I don't know, this is like probably the best magazine out there. Got a couple 100,000 readership,
yeah.
So international for filmmakers, specifically filmmakers. And, and so it was like, it's entered into the Filmmaker of the Year 2024. But I just like, nobody even told me. They didn't reach out to me or anything. So I was just like, I called Diane, like, as soon as I was done reading it and making a post online. I'm like, hey, everybody, check this out. And then as soon as I was done posting it, I went and I called Diane while Ari and Trisha were just at the Starbucks table. And I'm like, so did you, like, submit, for this magazine? And Diane's like, no. I'm like, well, who did? Because I just happened to, like, look and see it. And so it was, plus, here's the neat thing. They have other, like, entries for this, but they have two big pictures specifically from the teaser. I was like, okay, that's cool. That's really cool.
Very cool.
And so I was just like flabbergasted, being featured, plus, getting the name and Chris Fox Films, we were, honored. But I was also excited for Diane because this, no matter how you slice it, it's going to help, especially for what we're trying to do in getting investors and others involved to make this into the next Blumhouse, original or something,
I think so too. So Diane, when you wrote the script and everything and filmed it, and you're looking for distribution to get your film out there and streaming, so everybody can really enjoy that, and plus your twin daughters, because your twin daughters are in everything. Manifest, they've been in movies with some big A-lister stars. I mean, they're just on top of the. They're just on top of the world. I mean, it's just great. So before you were thinking about doing the distribution part, did you ever think about like running it through like the film festivals or anything like that as well?
Well, I mean, I'd like to do that. Although I've heard some people say that the best way to get the investors is just by doing, like maybe an Indiegogo fund or a GoFundMe, something like that. So, that's what we're trying. We're trying just to get it out there and, let people be aware that it's there and how wonderful it is, so, and to get people, interested in that way, and they can be investors and be a part of this with us, so we're hoping. And I actually just finished making the book for it. So now there's an actual book for it. Yeah. So
is it the book you wrote, is it like a novel based off the film?
Yes.
It's not a biography, I hope.
No, not a biography.
If I can just throw this in there, just for
go ahead,
just for the investor's sake, Indiegogo, Seed and Spark, and things like that. Fundraisers are pretty normal for indie filmmakers, but I believe enough in this project and in the girls, the potential of the girls, as a filmmaker, as a director, to know that if the right person can see, I mean, it was in Filmmaker Pro, Movie Maker Pro. If the right person, the right investor or investors can see this, they will see that the potential with the twins and the horror in itself, just by even the recent Abigail, there's enough potential that it should not even have to touch a Seed and Spark and any kind of fundraising kind of anything. I detest fundraising stuff. That's not my thing. But it shouldn't have to go through any fundraising at all. It should be just straight investor pickup. It should be literally multi-million-dollar easy. An easy $4 million investor. I think I can't remember. There was a few that were only like 4.5 or even up to maybe between 4 and 10 million as far as like an actual Hollywood budgeted horror film, and the gross was so astronomical. I mean, Megan was 12.5 million,
Mm-hmm.
and it averaged worldwide budget was over 200 million, profit. So I have no doubt that if we can just get the right investor or investors, and we can make this the way we need to make it, this will be the girls, the twins will be the next Shining Twins kind of thing. I have no doubt. The only caveat, and I just say this as a parent, as somebody with values, and as a friend of, the Platon family, our prayers will just be for the safety of the twins and the family, because they're going to be skyrocketing so much. That is usually where a lot of young actors and actresses kind of go by the wayside. It's because of the success. So, I just know that it's going to happen. It's already happening. I mean, Amanda Seyfried, come on, that's A-lister right there. But, so it's going to happen. And I think I have no doubt that it can and should happen to Then Came a Rainbow. And it just be beautifully twisted enough. Then Came a Rainbow, nice twisted rainbow, if anything. So
I think it'd be very twisted and all that too. I got a question for you, Diane. Okay, when your twins get a little bit older, what horror film are you going to let them watch for the very first time?
Wow, I think I might have to let them watch The Shining. I know that that's like pretty big, but they've grown up knowing about the Shining girls, because since they were old enough, since they walked and the Halloween would come around, they dressed just for me as the Shining twins. So every year they do it just for me. So maybe that would be the first movie that they would watch, maybe.
Hey, that'd be fun. Have you ever thought about doing like a short video, like for fun, like just like a little like short fan video, and have the twins dress as the Shining Twins, and just do like a creepy short video of it?
I've done it on their Instagram.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look at that, because they just followed me, so I gotta go. I didn't know that. I gotta see this.
Yes, you've got to check it out. It's one of my favorites. So we definitely, had to. That's one of the things I thought of when I was pregnant, and I knew they were identical twins. I was like, oh my gosh, I get to dress them up as the Grady twins. So I was so excited. But this Then Came a Rainbow is a dream, and I know that any investors out there would see the potential for this and take it and run with it, because you guys are just seeing a little tiny bit of what's in there.
Yeah.
And once you see what these little girls are capable of, and you couldn't tell, they're innocent and sweet, but they do some really horrible things. And so, we need to put it out there. We need to make this into a feature film, and let everybody enjoy the creepiness of these twin girls.
That would be great. Another thing you could do too, like when you're trying to get distribution, I would go to like horror conventions and just get a little
Yeah.
table, to talk about that, because you don't know who's walking in, horror conventions. I mean, you can talk to like other filmmakers and all that, get ideas how they got distribution, and then you brought the twins to that. You can get them real familiar with the movie too. That's another thing you can do too. So yeah,
that's a good idea for sure.
Film festivals are good, no matter how we slice it. It's just it wouldn't be like instead of. It's more like while things are processing. It's good to get it out there and get some laurels and get some awards and things like that. This will get awards.
Oh, of course it will, because it's well shot. It was well written. Diane, this was a well written story, and I've watched a lot of horror films, and I'm not just saying just to say it. You did write a solid script. I think it was pretty solid.
Thank you so much. That means a lot.
How long did it take you to write that script, and how'd you come up with that idea for this film?
The idea was there for a long time. It's just being a busy mom. Like, I can only do bits and pieces at a time. And then I finally really sat down last year, and I just said, let me really start working on this. And that was it. It was like every free moment I had, I was writing, and that's it. And then I showed it to some people, direct stuff that we've worked with, and they're like, "What are you doing? Why are you hanging on to this? You need to do something with it." And so, that's where Mike came into play, because who better than Mike to make this happen? So, I think we're a perfect fit. His family, my family, how amazing he is with everything that he does, and we're just ready. We're just waiting for those investors, because we are ready to go.
Like I said, positive vibes. I hope it happens for you guys. Now, I got a question for you guys. I always ask this of my guests on the show. Okay, say you guys are in a horror film. It's Diane, Mike, and your twin girls. Okay. Who would not survive? Who would be the instigator, and who would be the killers?
Mike?
Well, I think I'm safe to say the killers would be the twins.
The girls, yeah.
Because that's just the best way to go about that.
Who wouldn't survive, I wonder?
I'll volunteer as tribute to not survive, but I want to go out in glory.
Okay.
I'll let Diane survive as the as the barely alive, yet knowing what happened and who it happened to tell the story, kind of thing.
That's interesting. Okay.
I like that. Another question for you guys. Everybody has a junk drawer. So what's in your guys' junk drawer?
Good question. The miscellaneous drawer, huh?
Those.
You don't have one?
I do. I have like 2, maybe 3, possibly 3.
Yeah, everything from crazy glue to scissors, tape, markers, battery, not packs. The packages without batteries in it. I know, I can remember. They're like empty, and they're still in there. Razor blade type of things. The 3M thing stuff. All kinds of stuff. If we don't find it, that's where we go.
Yeah, you go to the junk drawer, for sure.
Yeah, everybody has one. A lot of people have interesting stuff in those junk drawers. Shoot, you could probably write a horror film about that.
Yeah. Body parts.
It'd be like, what's in that mysterious drawer? What does that killer keep in that drawer? So, Diane, are you like a huge horror fan? And what's your go-to horror film that really got you into the love of horror?
man, I love horror films, but I think going back, Amityville was probably one of the first ones for me, and then after that was The Shining. The Exorcist was not something I was into. Just, possessions kind of freaked me out a little too much. I mostly like horror and thriller kind of thing, and suspense all mixed in there together. But yeah, I think Amityville was my first, Shining right after, and then, those are still two of my very favorite horror films amongst all the new ones that have come out now, but that was my starting point.
Okay, what about you, Mike?
So I remember when I was a kid, the Amityville horror and all that, the Friday the 13th and all the, original stuff, and I'll never forget them. But as a filmmaker and a family man and somebody that when I create films, now I want to produce it as a purpose. And this is something that I like today's thriller / horror a lot better than the older ones. I mean, The Shining was a precedent. It's although if I look at it now in today's viewpoint, I'm like, okay, there's like a million things I would change, but still, there's like, okay, that's amazing how they did this, and it was just like, okay, this is a forever. It's like the Matrix. It created stuff for everyone else to follow. So I think when we started to see like Megan, like some newer Blumhouse stuff, Megan, Night Swim, Imaginary, that kind of stuff, I started to see as a filmmaker a different type or a different breed of what they consider horror / thriller. And instead of it being like slasher, there's another term beyond slasher. It's just, throw blood and guts everywhere. And it's just like, okay, you throw a party and how much blood and guts can you spill? Okay, that's cool. We love special effects. I'm just like, it's one of our favorite things. But I am more of the filmmaker that is into a purpose and a passion, or a passion and purpose. And Night Swim, Megan, they all have like a twist and a moral to the story type of thing, And so, even Imaginary. So that type of Blumhouse has a pattern. You have a beginning, you have a reason for it to happen, and then you see the new people in play, and then it happening to them, and then it's connecting to what happened before, and then, how will they survive, and will they survive? It's just this pattern that I see as a filmmaker, that there's a reason, and Blumhouse is the new Lionsgate for horror films. And so I try to adhere to this, quality type of thing. And so that's my go-to right now is a lot of the Blumhouse-ish type of stuff, to where you can have gore and horror. I mean, I love horror, good horror. But like Ari would say, a good horror is really just a thriller mystery with deaths and stuff. That's what a horror is supposed to be. Alfred Hitchcock, Rod Serling, they all came up with horror, and their horror, Lovegood, I think is Lovecraft. And I would love, me and Ari, she said when we get into our dream life and we have the money, we're going to start creating like Lovecraft horror stories, because Lovecraft is the original sci-fi horror author. And so those are the original horror authors, and it's all like a mystery. You have to like you have to figure out who and what and why. It's not just slash. Mm-hmm. And I get it, some people are into that, but I like a good storyline. I like good in-depth characters. I like twists and plot twists and stuff. So yeah, anyways. I totally agree with you with Blumhouse. I love Blumhouse, but if you're going to put Blumhouse up there for originality for horror,
you would also have to put A24 up there too. A24 has some of that original type of Blumhouse style type of horror films too.
Yeah, Roadhouse. I think what is it, Roadhouse or something, Roadside or something like that.
Yeah.
They like Freddy. Friday Nights at Freddy. They all have their quality stuff, and you can tell it's high budget, high quality stuff. And they even have good actors and actresses to do it right. But they got the timing of things. It's not just jump scares here and there. They have a potential jump scare. Oh, that's not a jump scare. It's a block of wood. They put that down, and then all of a sudden it really was. So it's like strategic. I love it.
I do too. I mean, like, Blumhouse and A24 is the best because those two films, still, like I said, are on fire right now, and it's original, and they also have a little bit artsy to it too. With the original stories, and you hear a lot of people's like, I don't like that artsy stuff. I like this. It's like, well, you got to respect the filmmaker. They're trying to make it as unique as possible, like what you said, from the start to finish of the story. I'm like that too. I want something that's going to keep me invested, instead of don't get me wrong, I love good and blood horror films too, but I also like to have a good, like, story with a purpose. And, was this film made off of a trauma experience from the filmmaker where he's trying to get his trauma out and just put in this film for, which really makes it feel better for himself than like holding it in. I like stuff like that. Because if you watch a lot of horror films, I've talked to a lot of horror filmmakers. Some of the horror films they do comes out of their experience through their traumas as a child.
Yeah, like even Night Swim. I read about that, and Kurt Russell's son was the lead.
Yeah.
And Night Swim was actually an investment off of a film short.
Okay.
Yep.
And I was just like, what? Really? And so it was built off of film short, which originally came from, like, the terror of the pools of the director when he was young. And so I was just like, wow, this is amazing, And, I mean, the fact that it's, like, such a huge budgeted film off of a film short is just, like, inspiring to me. And that we can do this, But I love what really gets me passionate is to make sure that the audience is invested in the characters.
Yeah.
At least main characters. Because if not, then who cares if they die? But if you care about them because you're emotionally invested in the characters, you're gonna want to go on the journey with them, and you don't want anything to happen to them. So it's just like an emotional roller coaster that you lead them, and it's fun. So yeah.
Yeah, just like Diane's daughter, the twins, they had me emotionally invested in them because I wanted to see what was going through their twisted, sinister minds, because they really did get under my skin for a couple scenes. Like I said, I'm not going to spoil this film, but there's a couple scenes where her daughters really got under my skin, and it's just hard, and it's really hard for me to get scared when I watch certain horror films. But her daughters were just so convincing. I was like, I don't even want to be in the same room with those twins because, they'd be looking at me going, oh, Rob, you're so nice. And then all of a sudden they'll have something sinister. It's like, we need to get rid of him.
Follow us, Robin.
It's like, hey, Robin, look, we got one of your action figures right here. Here, come get it.
Yeah.
They're the sweetest little girls.
Oh, I can tell, yeah.
I mean, when they come in and I give them hugs, they're so Diane, I feel like they're so light and brittle. I'm like, I don't want to hug them too much because I'm going to squeeze their little bones. They're so sweet, and I just love them to death. They're just amazing. The whole family is amazing. Jax is amazing. We'll talk about that later, but just the whole Platon family is not only talented and amazing, but they have values and they have integrity and a good heart, and so they deserve all the success. I just hope and pray that we continue.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you guys positive vibes. I'm gonna pray about it. I'm gonna spread the word for people, to check it out. and I'm a fan of your daughters. I want to see what they do next. I want to see where they're going to be heading next. I mean, because like I said, they've been doing so much films and stuff, and I hope they have a great successful career. And also, maybe in the near future, I would love to see them more in horror.
Hey, listen, for sure. They love it. They love being creepy. They love it. So I think maybe we'll do Then Came a Rainbow too.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool too. So, since you're, like you said earlier, you're writing a novel of the two. So, is your book going to be coming out? Is that going to be online?
It's already. You can get it on through Amazon. It's already there.
Well, dang! Guess I'm going to have to buy me a copy and get Diane to sign it.
Yeah. Girls will sign it.
Hey, I'll let them sign it. All three of you can. I definitely need to pick up that book.
In red.
They'll sign it in red.
Be like, you look at it, it's like, is it in blood? Yeah, is it red ink or is that really blood? So, Diane, what are some of your next projects? I know you're a busy mom, with your kids in the industry and films. Are there going to be any other projects you're going to be doing besides Then Came a Rainbow, or?
Well, I've actually started like months back for the second part, the sequel of it. But the girls are actually working on a book themselves.
Okay.
And they're just about finished with that. We just need to, do all the artwork for it.
Oh, nice.
We're just going to keep going forward that way. And they're busy with their acting as well. So, but as far as for me, this basically is my whole life, which is Then Came a Rainbow, getting it out there for people to see it, and so that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I can see you going more of a screenwriter. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do next with your screenwriting. I'm looking forward to it. Mike, what's some of your other projects? There's a film I saw of Mike's, but it's for another podcast. I enjoyed Sleepers, so that will be like on the next episode. But is there any other film projects you're working on after Sleepers?
So our biggest thing right now for Sleepers is getting distribution, getting this out there as much as possible. We just finished the red carpet premiere, which was fantastic, successful, and it was amazing. It's amazing to see everyone. So glad to see the cast and the crew come together and meet each other. And, a lot of times on set, you have no idea who other parts of the movie is until you come to some kind of premiere thing. And so that's our focus right now. As a filmmaker, I mean, we have a family business, me, Trish, and Ari, and our goal, our aim right now is to be full-time filmmakers. And it's been a hustle, to be honest with you. It's been a hustle and a grind.
Paying those dues.
It's the industry, the entertainment industry is, if you don't have the right connections, it's just a constant grind, and
it's true.
And so we over here in Delaware, I mean, we've done what we can to put Delaware on the map. We were in the newspaper. In fact, I just got some copies today for Sleepers and all that. But we're looking to continue our my filmmaking, directing, producing, editing, the whole nine yards, on as many projects as possible. I have a lot of people wanting things, but they're not funded, so it's
I gotcha.
I'm like, okay, I appreciate it. I've got so many people with all these great ideas. I have my own ideas. I'm writing a book myself. Ari has 2 books that's been out. One was supposed to be a movie, and the executive producer really dropped the ball and kind of screwed her and us. So that was her sci-fi novel, and then she has her her current book, out, and then she's got another work in progress. Those are be amazing to go from book to movie. And then we're also going to actually touch on when the time is right for Then Came a Rainbow, a new teaser, and we're going to give it a new vibe. Yes. And this is what I was talking to Diane about before, because it is a horror. I feel it's going to be much more powerful, especially for investors, if it have more of an action-packed type of power punch,
gotcha,
horror feel to it. So there's going to need to be special effects, blood. There's going to need to be props, all kinds of stuff in this thing, and it be like bam, 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 and be on the edge of your seat as a horror. I want to get like full face, close-ups of the twins, all kinds of stuff that is not more of a longer storyline. So, when that comes about, we'll be excited to do that. Other than that, I'm just kind of leaving it open to see what can happen here. We do have Mia's Bridge still on, in development, reaching out. It's a huge potential, and if an investor got a hold of it, it would be an impactful, inspirational crime drama action movie. And so, we're proud of that. So yeah, we're just seeing what's next.
And then speaking of sleepers too, Diane's older son and her twin daughters were in it too, which was cool too. But in sleepers, they were more cute and adorable than.
There was no evil in their acting on that one. In fact, they're so adorable. It's just every time we see them, they're in slow motion. They're just all hopping and just excited. And of course, have them do some dialogue because they are amazing. And I wanted to make sure that they didn't just have face time and screen time, but also voice time, because they are fantastic actresses. So I wanted to utilize that and do what I can to extend that for Diane and the Platon family, and get them to talk and giggle, and you can see their personality, their bubbly personality and stuff. And then Jax, he's an amazing guy. Again, I hope he doesn't forget us little people when he gets to be a big A-lister, but he's already on his way. He was the perfect smirk bully.
Yeah, he sure was. I wanted to punch him because he was so convincing. I was like, man, I want to hit this kid. He did a good job because I was like, man. No, I don't want to, Diane. I don't want to hit your son. Just his character. Just the character.
Just the character.
But yeah, he did a good job as a bully. I mean, he was a convincing bully. So.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that all the family, just like Ari, they're all like the sweetest people in the world.
You can tell.
Francesco Potro as Dimitri, and it's just like this guy. He's a pastor in Philly. So I mean, you're like, what? He's like the sweetest guy. All of these people we've had on sleepers, that are like mean, like Luke. He's like, joking, and the guy's just like. Even one time he did something with Ari, he's like, "You okay? You okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, let's go." And, so it's just amazing to see people, especially like the Platon family, and just quality people that are good people. Talent.
That's true. There's a lot of good people. You guys, thank you so much coming out of your busy schedule. To come on, especially you, Diane. I know your daughters are filming right now, and thank you for, taking a little bit of your time to come on here and talk about your film. And of course, Mike is like a good special friend to me. I mean, he's a good guy, and I always love when he comes on too. And like I said, thank you so much too, Mike.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us on. Yeah.
All right. And everybody, thank you for listening to Horror Pop After Midnight. Have a